Let's stay in Wellington. A parliamentary committee today heard the government officials did identify a security problem with a system that was going to collect personal data from the clients of community agencies, but didn't treat it seriously enough. Now, this was a controversial plan in which the Ministry of Social Development would collect client data from non-government agencies that were reliant on government funding. Criticised as excessive by the Privacy Commissioner at the time, the plan fell over not because of objections to it, but because of a near-miss data breach that led to the Minister and Tolley ordering a new system be designed. Today, the issues and risks around data security were examined by a parliamentary committee, and our political editor, Jane Patterson, was there.
What went wrong, how wrong was it, and when were key people told? In May, it cost MSD's Deputy Chief Executive his job. But prior to that, there was confusion about its seriousness and questions about whether it had been downplayed. Today, MSD Chief Executive Brendan Boyle told a parliamentary committee a security problem with the system was identified in January.
There was no data that was breached, so it wasn't considered to be of such a nature that it required that kind of escalation. There was a folder that there was confusion around the permissions.
But the Privacy Commissioner John Edwards told RNZ it wasn't only the near miss, which could have been worse than it was the fact the information was being collected at all. In other words, data security wasn't the only thing he was concerned about.
The security element was one, and it was a really significant one, and had potential to undermine trust in the system, and I think that potential was then realised. But our criticisms, our findings were actually more fundamental, that in fact we found the ministry had been unable to tell the story of why they wanted the information and how it would be used, and that meant that the NGOs, the non-governmental organisations, the community groups were not able to explain that to the people they were asking to give the information. So, we found that the legitimate government needs for information weren't matched to the different items of information.
Brendan Boyle admitted more action should have been taken when the near miss occurred.
Look, I accept that there was a risk that had been downplayed, and if it had been escalated, there's a possibility that the other issues may not have emerged.
But John Edwards told RNZ MSD was warned.
Well, our involvement in this began sort of mid-2016, and right from the very beginning we told the ministry that it would be really important to have a kind of methodical end-to-end look at the system and do a privacy impact assessment, a security risk assessment of the whole process of collecting this information. We found that didn't happen, and that was, I think, quite a significant contributor to the failure, which ultimately ended that policy.
Labour's Social Development spokesperson Carmel Sepuloni says the whole data collection plan should be abandoned, as the public can no longer have confidence in the ministry or the minister.
I think it was really negligent of Brendan Boyle to know about the breach in January and not to inform the minister, because action should have been taken there. The public should have been alerted to the fact that their system was not safe in terms of protecting data.
But the Minister and Tolley told the committee some agencies already have the requirement to hand over client data in their government contracts.
They collect that data themselves. It's the names and addresses of their clients and the number of children that they have. So they will have that data already, but they keep that, and we will not be requiring that to be uploaded until we have this new system in place that everybody has confidence in.
Mrs Tolley says she expects the new system to be up and running by the end of the year. From Parliament for Checkpoint, Jane Patterson.